Hi, my name is Rock Robinson, one of the co-founders of eCarra. eCarra stands for Electric Car Ride Awareness, and we started this journey in 2016. Here it is 2019, and we were able to get a lot of traction. So we've got some really big clients in the city of Dallas. One of our clients is a really big software company, and they have over 5,000 employees. We are really a B2B company, so primarily eCarra does corporate and luxury apartments, and so our sweet spot is corporations who are looking for a way to build better engagement with their employees, employee retention, reduce emissions. Like, that's our sweet spot. So corporate structure transportation is kind of where we are. Like, we do a lot of corporate travel. And also luxury apartments, apartments who are looking to keep their LEED certifications or increase their LEED certifications. Like, that's the kind of people we want to build relationships with first. But primarily, we're a B2B company. We serve a lot of corporate travel and out of DFW.
Tell us a little bit how did eCarra get started?
Good question. So eCarra, it's funny how we started, but we literally took like 2 years of R&D and study, and we tried to figure out what worked in the mobility space, like what was cool, what was not. We had this idea that if you could take and have great experiences in the car, that it would be a profit center, or we would have an opportunity to make change in the mobility space. And so we did all of this research. We did a little bit of everything. We made videos. I mean, people thought we were crazy. So for 2 years, we just studied, and it led us to a couple things. And one was we'd have to be 100% electric company. That was the future. We knew that being an all-electric rideshare company could make it, because it is a part of change overall. And it's funny how we started. We did all this research, we came up with our business plan, we built a domain, we had a logo, we had all this stuff going on, and we had no cars. And everybody was like, when are you gonna get a car? How are you gonna do this? How are you gonna get cars? And so we knew that we wanted to be all electric, we wanted to be all luxury. And you know, luxury electric cars are expensive. Like, Teslas are $100,000. So I kept trying to figure out how to buy this $100,000 car. And we kept getting dead ends. And then one day, we wanted to do a photo shoot just to kind of demo what it would look like, what eCarra would look like with a Tesla and our logo. And the photographer that we were using at the time said, he said, why don't you just go to Toro and rent a Tesla? And I was like, that's a genius idea. So we literally, that day, I went on my device, my iPhone, props to iPhone. So I went to the actual Toro app, and that day, we rented a Tesla for like $80 a day. And we got it, and we literally started to do free rides for people. Like, I would drive people around, we would logo people's cars, and I would drive them around. We'd find people and drive them around, just kind of like demo what it would look like and how it would feel. And everybody loved the idea of riding in a Tesla, and we'd plant a tree, and it was just a great vibe. And so from that day forward, every weekend we would rent a car and do free rides. And so we were losing money. Everybody thought we were crazy, but one thing led to another, and we would get like people requesting rides. And so it turned in from, you know, renting on 1 day to 2 days to 3 days. And so we literally scaled this pilot idea through car sharing. And I thought, man, that's amazing. But one of the cool things about that is, like, every time we would rent somebody's car off of Toro, we would take it back better than the way we found it. Like, every time. Like, if somebody cleaned the car, we would clean it better. If somebody polished the car, we would polish it better. Like, we would make sure that when we took the car back, it would be better than the way we found it. And so fundamentally, we started eCarra that way with an app, literally renting a $100,000 car for $80 a day. That's how we started eCarra.
Why was eCarra exist?
Why does eCarra exist? Good question. I think eCarra exists for a lot of reasons. So primarily our overarching goal is, one, how do we reduce city emissions? Like, how do we continually reduce emissions in our cities? City pollution is on the rise. It's bad. We all know that. We all feel that. People are dying because of pollution. And so overall, it exists for that, to be an example of what mobility looks like in the future. We coined this term like, eCarra is the new mobility standard. Like, when we say that, we're saying like the standard should be sustainable clean energy vehicles. That should be the standard. The standard should be experiences that make people feel great in the car, giving them bandwidth to do more work or feel comfortable or safe. Like, the new mobility standard is that. And so eCarra exists for that, to be, number one, an example. Like, we want to be an example of what mobility should be. Two, reduce emissions. We built an app for the very first time that would allow people to see real-time feedback when they're in the car. They could see when every mile we travel, how much emissions don't go into the atmosphere. They can see gallons of gas that have not been used, and so they can accumulate that in their own app and then share with their friends and be social about it. So it's all about awareness. That's the second thing about why we exist overall, like in our mission statement, is to make sustainable transportation more aware to people and bring awareness out there, and even adoption in some cases, because a lot of the cars that we use in our service end up getting sold to people back in the community. So it's actually kind of a cool way to make people aware and to bring adoption to sustainable transportation at the same time. So that's why we exist.
What do you want people to know about eCarra?
Very good. Very good questions. Let me think about that. I didn't even think about these questions in that. What I would like people to know about eCarra is that we're committed to being a luxury service. And when I say that, we've done everything from look at what mobility looks like in the next 5 years, next 10 years, next 15 years, and the next 20 years. And we know that in 20 years, most cars on the road will be autonomous and they'll be driving themselves. And we want to be a fleet maintenance program or a service for people where we care for their cars so they don't have to. These cars would stay clean and stay charged and stay ready for any type of mobility services there. So we're looking past just the 5-year span, 10-year span. We're looking 20 years out and saying, how can eCarra reduce emissions or be a part of that and make sustainable transportation more available to people. So that's what I'd like people to know.
Where does eCarra fit in the mobility market?
Very cool. So eCarra is, first off, in the next 6 years, there's almost $8 billion on the table for mobility companies. And a large part of that is going to be new companies. And we're starting to see it right now. We see other companies in the city popping up doing similar things where they're creating better experiences for people to move around. We know that there's hundreds and hundreds of mobility companies that will pop up in the next 5 or 6 years because of that market surge. So our role, and I say this all the time, is like, we feel like an Uber is a Walmart in the sense, not to be a bad thing, but that's just kind of what it is. It is a volume mobility company. We feel like Lyft is the same way, but more like on a Target level. I think for us, we want to be the Whole Foods of mobility. We want to be that 1% of vehicles out there that are always electric, always luxury, always super clean, very customizable. Our app allows people to predetermine how they want to ride. If what we call a mood selector, so you can pick a quiet mode, you can pick however you want to, whatever temperament you want in the car, you kind of pre-select that, and you can also do it on the fly. So we're gonna be the company that's geared towards the passenger all the time and the owner of the vehicles all the time. So those are our internal and external customers. So that's kind of where we fit into the mobility space.